Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Law compels all employers to pay 70,000 naira minimum wage. Igboho slams faceless protesters plotting to destabilize government. Tight security in state, FCT over planned protests. Zenith Bank set to raise 290 billion naira capital through right issue and public offer. 10,000 public recruits begin training August 10th. FGOK sale of crude to Dangote, others in naira. And NCC directs telcos to restore barred lines. Okay, story.
Major headline. So congratulations to all of us workers. The president yesterday signed the minimum wage into law, the minimum wage bill into law yesterday. And he was very grateful to the National Assembly for the speedy passing of the bill. And he says, this is the minimum. This is not the maximum. So employers can pay upwards, but they cannot pay downwards. Henceforth, all employers are mandated to pay 70,000 lowest salary according to the new Minimum Wage Act, and that's law yesterday. And it was witnessed by the National Assembly leadership, led by the Senate President, of course. And the President was, thankful for the expeditious passing of the bill. Also, the 2024 Appropriation Act will be ready tomorrow, according to the Senate President, when he reassured the President that they will do the needful to finish up with the 2024 Appropriation Act.
Again, I applaud Labour. This is an improvement. This is something that anybody who's collecting that salary now is thankful that, Labour took on that fight.
If you're a copper, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
I was a copper when, yes, I was a copper when when minimum wage was made 14,000. It was us that first of all received it.
So you mean these people serving now will go from 35 to 70,000?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Wow, them. The Dangote refinery and other local refineries will henceforth pay naira to access crude from the NNPCL. That's following yesterday's directive by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The presidential order followed an approval by FEC at this 9th meeting where beside the adoption of the naira as currency trading for the local operators, the president also directed NNPCL to immediately commence engagement with local refineries in the naira-denominated transaction. I think this is huge.
Yeah, it's a big
Briefing reporters after FEC meeting, FIR's boss said the directive also affects the sale of products from Dangote and other refineries. The transaction must be conducted in naira. So this is exciting news because one of the issues we had is so much dependence on this dollar. And now the president is saying, this is crude, it's our property, now us get them. So therefore, sell it to ourselves in naira. Don't use the international. OPEC can decide whatever price they want to price. In our own country, this is the price we are going to be selling it to each other. And then encourage local refiners to also buy from us, because right now some of them are actually paying in dollars, and it's quite, and it's put a lot of pressure.
When they don't have this huge capacity, some of these local refineries can only do maybe 50,000 barrels daily. But now that we have a bigger one like Dangote, and we have...
Yes, I'm pretty excited for refiners. Hopefully we'll see the...
He will be happy, or he will reduce the complaining. He has been complaining since. Let me take Igboho's story. So he's a major proponent of the Yoruba nation. He's an activist. Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, has distanced himself from the protest that is set to take place on the 1st of August. He's applauding the president for the revolutionary policies, in his words. He also mentioned that especially the minimum wage that has been signed right now. Then he spoke about the fact that all through the time when former President Buhari was in power, nobody raised a protest calling for his exit, because he said that some of the people are clamoring that Tinubu must go, is the slogan they are using for the protest, and they are threatening 10 days of rage. So he's of the opinion that while the constitutionally enshrined part of protest is normal, he is of the opinion that this is not the regular protest we are expecting to see, that he recognizes that there is economic hardship, but it's a global phenomenon, it's not just unique to Nigeria, and that since he's released from an unjust detention, I'm quoting him, by the former president, he said he has traveled extensively across Europe and Africa, other African countries, has seen the hardship everybody is facing, and is happy that there's a lot of policy going on to address those issues, and is distancing himself and his entire organization from the protests scheduled for 1st of August.
Okay, yeah, so I have the story of the police, the 10,000 police recruits that have been recruited recently and will soon start their training. So they said the Police Recruitment Board has approved the 10th of August 2024 for the commencement of training for successful applicants of the 2022 Constable Recruitment Exercise. They said the candidates are expected to confirm their status by logging into the recruitment website to confirm further details on the training. They said specialist applicants are, however, to resume training 2 months after that of their general duty counterparts. Information on dates and venues for their own specialized training will be announced in due course.
All right, moving on to the Punch. Hardship protests, security agencies begin massive soldiers and police deployment. Tinubu means, well, let's give him more time to rescue Nigeria, says Tunji Ojo. NIN linkage, NCC orders SIM restoration as angry subscribers protest. Kiamo directs suspension of the NAMA's 800% charge hike. 32 arrested for attacking federal government inspection team, Abuja politicians fueling banditry, says Benue governor. PSC invites 10,000 new constables for training in August. And Labour excited as Tinubu signs 70,000 naira minimum wage into bill. Okay, which story?
So I have the NCC story. The NCC yesterday, in a statement issued by the Director of Media and Public Affairs, Ruben Maoka of the NCC, he explained that they've given a directive to all the networks to restore blocked telephone lines, and this was in response to the widespread disruption and subscribers' outrage caused by the blockade. And because we know you took the story on Sunday, most of the networks blocked some lines, and this caused, of course, chaos in most of their offices, where we saw videos of the subscribers fighting and damaging things. So the NCC has directed them to do an unblocking of those lines, and they say that consumer is our priority. Therefore, considering the challenges the blockages have caused to the Commission has directed all operators to reactivate all lines that were disconnected over the weekend because of short time available for consumers to undertake the verification of their NIN with their SIM. It's also clarified that consumers should note that their reactivation was for a limited period to allow them properly link their NIN to their SIM. And they urge all subscribers who have not yet done so to now take advantage of the extension to do it, because the mandatory linkage of NIN with SIM that was initiated in 2020 is towards our growth and is to enhance our database of ownership of each line. So it's important.
Okay. We're going to have them on the show later today, so we'll have more clarity. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Let me take the Kiamo story. So the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency has suspended its earlier announcement to increase charges to 800% based on the directive of the minister. So they've gone back on that. It disclosed this in a statement by the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, NAMA, Mr. Abdullahi Musa, on Monday. On Friday, NAMA announced its intention to raise its navigation charges by 800%. That's a lot of increment. A decision that raised concerns from both passengers and also the stakeholders in that sector. So the managing director of NAMA, obviously was speaking, saying that the minister had insisted or redirected that all charges be reversed concerning this increment, and the new units minimum charge en routes was set to increase to 18,000. Was actually increased from 2,000 to 18,000. That's the 800% we're talking about. So hopefully we'll get the new charges soon, but they've asked them to reverse it as of this morning's report.
Okay, so I have the story of the Zenith Bank set to raise 290 billion capital. The bank GMD CEO, I quote, Deme Umoji, said, "We signed the transaction documents with respect to Zenith Bank's 290 billion rights issue and public offer. This is slightly above the 230 billion required for us to meet the CBN's minimum recapitalization requirements." They said the rights issue offers 5,232,748,964 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each at 36 naira per share, while the offer for subscription presents 2,767,251,036 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each at 36.50 per share. He said it also allows existing shareholders the opportunity to purchase additional shares in proportion to their current holdings, and is being offered on the basis of one new ordinary share for every 6 existing ordinary shares held as of July 24th. So if you want to buy shares now, it's open to the public. You can.
Okay.
At 36
All
naira.
right. So I have the story of 32 people.
So is there a reason why Punch is thick today?
There must be some.
There's something inside.
What's that? Okay, audited financial statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's always. It was very heavy.
Huge.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so 32 people have been arrested. This is, it happened on Monday. The Lagos State Police Command visited the federal government, the Federal College of Education Technical in Akoka area, said that some people attacked federal government's inspection team that visited the school. And based on the attack of that inspection team, the students were arrested. Some students now sent voice notes, sent messages, sent pictures to the reporter who carried this story on what really happened, according to them, that they had been protesting the bad state of the school environment, and based on their protest was why police officers were brought in, and the police officers were shooting tear gas into the air. They got 17 seconds video that the correspondents watched that showed the police shooting tear gas into the air and police arresting staff members and also beating off staff members. The allegation was that from the provost of the college, Wahab Aziz, he claims that the protesting students were instigated by members of staff who are eyeing his position, that he understands what the students want. He was formerly a student union person, and so he does not have any issue with the student, but he knows that the students are complaining now based on the instigation of some staff members. However, the students replied by sharing videos of their hostel and how dilapidated it is. Rotten wood, part of the building, the restroom was really in bad state. So they said rotten wood, restroom being bad, and the tank was broken, were the reasons they were protesting.
I saw videos of the students. I shared it to the group yesterday, and the federal government Ministry of Education team came to settle a management level issue between the provost and some other members of, I think, Senate within the school. This team had their cars parked and saw students with sticks, stones. In fact, if you see the way they vandalized one of the SUVs, if you see the way they destroyed it, how is that addressing? How is that addressing the issues the students are saying?
They didn't carry that one in this.
Because we said with students before. I don't understand. How is vandalizing those cars, those guys that were breaking all those cars, how does it address the issues the students are saying? If you have a federal government team within school, wouldn't you want to get their attention to take them on it? Or do you want to scare them away so that they don't ever come again? So later on, the police then intervened and we saw tear gases flying. The videos are online.
I think they've handled it somehow.
I don't even want to get into that conversation because it's deeper than this.
Yes, it is. It's cultural.
It's cultural, it's mental, it is conditioning.
Yes. I saw the videos and I said to myself, God, don't let my child ever get to this level. That's not addressing
I have told you that I've gone to schools where you're saying, well, even how lecturers are communicating, because the kids they have no regard, no respect.
There was another grievance.
Some of them, not all of them, some of them don't have that constitutional
taking out the
respect.
People's cars.
We see, we've hailed them.
They couldn't even live safely. And how is that addressing, getting the attention of federal government to you?
Daily Sun, please.
We're able to use tear gas.
I don't want to get into it. Daily Sun. Nationwide protest, National Assembly summons emergency meeting. Igbo youth dissociate themselves from planned protests, Nnamdi Kanu's release. Customs declares 2.74 trillion naira revenue, surpasses target. 2024 Hajj, 30 Nigerians died in Saudi Arabia. NCC orders immediate reactivation of lines that were barred by the NNSIM verification issues. FEC approves sale of the crude to Dangote and others in Naira. And Tinubu signs 70,000 Naira minimum wage into bill. Okay, which story are we taking in Daily Sun?
The chairman of the National Hajj Commission, Jalal Ahmed Arabi, said that Nigeria lost 30 pilgrims during this year's Hajj. May Allah forgive them and grant them Jannah. He said, but not all the 30 Nigerians who died due to the harsh weather. You know, this year's Hajj was welcomed by very harsh heat weather in the Saudi, where they had high temperatures of heat in Hajj. And, you know, a lot of people suffered, a lot of people died because of that. But he said, no, that not all 30 of them died because of the harsh weathers. The Hajj Commission also tried as much as possible to ensure that they were safeguarded. They also insisted that they provided the pilgrims with umbrellas, new innovation fans to keep them cool. The exposure to harsh weather and conditions were, you know, they tried as much as possible to provide succor for them. And they said they lost pilgrims, but not all of them died due to the heat. He also explained the 90 billion intervention that was done by the federal government. He said this was spread equitably, such that every pilgrim was assisted. He said they did not have to pay an additional 4.9 million because of that 90 billion that was shared. He said they could only cater conveniently for about 18,000 intended pilgrims out of the 50,000 duly registered persons for this year's Hajj. Subsequently, the appreciation of Naira also affected how the money was disbursed, so they needed that intervention. He said each pilgrim was supported with about 1.6 million, and except those under the Hajj savings scheme who enjoyed more.
Because some of them complained.
Towards it, he says, so they got better pay. Those under the Hajj savings scheme are required to pay a balance of 1.9, so because they got more. But the 90 billion was not sufficient to make up the balance. However, it was distributed equitably, and new registrants were made to pay 8.4 million for the Hajj.
Okay, so the Ohanese Ndigbo youths have said that they would not be part of the proposed nationwide protest over the growing hardship in the country. According to them, they argued that it was better for the people of the region to continue to engage with government to address their grievances than participate in a protest that is currently faceless. They made their position known at the emergency meeting Ohanese Ndigbo Youth Wing Worldwide, comprised of various youth groups from that region. The national leader of the Ohanese Youth Wing, Chukwuma Okpala-Kwezu, said the Igbo had every cause to protest the long years of marginalization, neglect suffered in Nigeria. But however, they believe that if this protest continues, that many of the properties owned by Igbos are going to suffer the most. And they feel that there's no point in when their properties, their businesses are destroyed, and they're trying to rebuild that when there are still other issues they have. So they would rather continue to engage the federal government to ensure the development of that region than be part of a protest that they're not even sure who is organizing it.
Okay, so I want to take the story of customs. The customs happily declared that they surpassed their target for the first half of this year. The target they had was that they were going to earn 2.5 trillion, but they surpassed it by 8%, and they were able to collect 2.74 trillion. The figure marks a 127% increase over the previous year. In 2023, the revenue has between the first half of the year and this 2024 first half of the year shows a 127% increase. The statement came from the spokesperson of Customs, Abdullahi Maiwada, who made the disclosure while collecting on what was collected in the second quarter of 2024, also exceeding what was collected in the second quarter of 2023. So generally, they are doing better in terms of revenue collection. They've also done better in terms of seizing people that escaped duty paid value. They said they made the seizures they made was over 2,442 seizures were made in just the first half of 2023, and they were able to double that in 2024. So generally, they are feeling very, very good about the progress they have enjoyed.
They have KPIs now.
Yes, so
many of them, so they are constantly coming out to tell us what they are doing. They have been forced to have
the system is
causing them to actually have these data for us. The point, amid protests, debate, Tinubu signs nationwide national minimum wage bill into law. My doctor damaged my womb, connived with my husband to bury my child. Woman laments and seeks justice. It's wrong for funding of local government to come from the federal government, says Isesage. And Keyamo overrules Nama, suspends planned 800% levy hike. Okay.
I had the woman who lost her womb.
Oh, there's another human interest. Man with 10 children commits suicide after wife gave birth to twins. Okay, go ahead.
So I can't find my picture immediately, and the point is not an online link I have. But the woman's account was that a qualified doctor, had helped her husband in a procedure which he authorized, damaged her womb. And she's asking that, the calling for justice, that the doctor be arrested and her husband be also prosecuted.
You need it?
Quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
So her name is Mrs. Latifa Aina Habib. She's crying out for justice, of course, in Oshogbo again. A practicing medical doctor in Oshogbo, Dr. Ola Yode Akongbe Shakiru, performed a cesarean session on her. She accused the doctor said to be in the state government's employment of conniving with her estranged husband who has left Akim Adekonye to secretly bury her newly born child after claiming that the baby died. And she said that she had been in a lifelong mess after the incident, which occurred since January 2022. She also said that she's been battling serious health challenges due to the alleged unprofessional errors committed by the doctor. Obviously, this must have been that, the procedure was not done according to medical standards. And of course, she has suffered that. She said she's sold most of her properties to cater for her health and that she's not yet recovered from the damage done to her body. She's asking for justice and she's hoping that, it is served. I hope that the police also she said the police have arraigned him for medical negligence. She's hoping that, justice is served as well.
So another man, a middle-aged man, Benjamin Ode Nweha, in Ebonyi State, reportedly committed suicide after one of his wives gave birth to a set of twins. So according to the report, Nweha married two women that they both had 10 children for him before one of his wives then had another set of twins, but unfortunately she died. And so I guess suspecting from the fact that the burden these two additional children would cause on him, he gave his life, he took his life. And they found him in his living room, lifeless. Wow. Moving on, our final paper, Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. FG begins sale of 50 kg rice for 40,000 naira. FEC okays 1.44 trillion naira road contracts. 19 million adolescent girls face intimate partner violence before the age 20. Okay, which story?
Okay, so the Minister for National Orientation, sorry, it's the rice that is said. So the Minister for Information, Ahmed Idris, has announced that we'll start selling rice across several centers across the country, 50 kg bags for 40,000. He said this after FEC meeting yesterday. Short.
Yeah,
that's short. Is that all?
Yeah, you can go on.
You have 2 seconds left.
Okay, so we have the gunman kill customs officer abduct one in Kebbi. So they said the public relations officer, Muhammad Salisu, said government trailed the anti-smuggling squad to their base at Koko, destroyed facilities, killed one officer, Dabo Umar, and abducted one, Babagana Kabiru. They said when they got there that he went to the families to go and, condole them and all. And then he now said that the family, and then, the family now said that they are going to make sure that the one that was abducted will be
released as well.
Released as soon as possible.
Okay.